Hello and welcome back. So here we are, as we left it at the end of the last part. So we've got our sort of base colour done there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select all the polys that make up the model, and I'm just going to hit the M key to make one material. I'm going to call it Sampan material. Now I've already saved this off. With sort of made a resave this save as with the original one with all these in, because I'm now going to go ahead of here and just basically delete all these, and if things go pear-shaped, then I want to make sure I've got a version with all these in. If not, we're going to be in a lot of trouble and we're going to have to basically do all the materials again. So make sure you back up before you start deleting. So I'm going to basically just drag my diffuse colour into my one material. So now, as you can see, we've got the same effect as we had before with all the others, but we've only got one material there, so we're in a lot better shape. Also, this working UV map is not serving any purpose anymore, because we've not got any of the other materials that needed it. So we'll just get rid of that as well, just to clean up. So in here, I'm going to load an image, and we're going to go over to our bakes. And there's our ambient occlusion one, so I'm going to load that in. Now you can see that now, that just looks, it just adds so much to the final model, to be honest, and adding ambient occlusion in is just a lovely way of griming things up. So I'm going to turn off the anti-aliasing and all these as we normally do, and the blend mode I'm just going to set to multiply for the ambient occlusion. Let's just go over to the render tab. So now you can see it's just a lot. It just brings the whole model alive, basically, the ambient occlusion. We don't want to be rendering one at 4096. Let's just render one out here and let's have a look at how she's looking. So you can see the ambient occlusion is quite subtle, but it does add a an area of grime around all the sort of nooks and crannies, like where there would be grime, basically, like around here. It's very subtle. If you happen to have baked it too dark, it doesn't matter, because when you come in here and you do the blend mode, you can always change how much blend you're using, etc. So I'm just going to turn it off for now, just so we don't get confused. So I'm going to make a new layer, new image, and I'm going to call this one grime. So I want 4096 again. We want them basically all the same. Okay, and I'm going to drop this below the ambient occlusion, because the ambient occlusion is always going to be the last layer we add, which will be a multiplication. So I'm going to drop that below. Now with that selected, just make sure our UVs are set correct. I'm going to come over to the paint tab. I'm just going to do a file save. Right, we're over in the paint tab now. Let's have a look. Let's turn off the trackball rotation. Okay. Okay, so we're going over to paint tools. I'm going to select an airbrush, a nozzle, and an image ink, and I've basically just gone over to here and did add path, and you'll see within the tutorials that I've given you there's a directory called grime. So just create a path for that. I'm just going to select in one of these grime images there, and then when you right click you can scale out how big you want the brush to be. Now I'm going to go over to images here, and this will show you all the images you've got currently loaded into your project, and just make sure the grime is selected, because we want to be painting onto that one. Now if you select as a colour mask, then basically what you can do, it'll just use that as a grayscale, and then you can actually just pick the colour. So we're going to go for a bit of grime. We're going to go for a browny greeny type. Okay, now we just need to make sure in the texture locator we've got the right UV set there, and just when you click in the viewport, you should see your image ink come in. Now this is the so you can resize this. Basically, the size of this on here is what's going to get mapped onto there. So we're going to I'm going to cut that down just a wee bit, and you can see you can paint on straight away. Now you can change the opacity. So we're going to cut this down a wee bit, just so we're not putting it on quite so heavy. And what I'm going to do at the start, I'm just going to go over this and just now don't forget, whenever the brush goes over something, that will paint now as well. So if you don't want anything to be painted, you can always just select it. As long as you just select the polys, then you can just sort of basically hit the H key and just hide. So what I'll do first, I'm just gonna, but I'm not going to be too worried about this, to be honest, because okay, let's get back over to the paint tools. I'm not too worried if I end up painting over something I shouldn't, because we're not really going to see. I know that's not the best attitude to have, but you need to. All these things are going to take time. See this model, even though I must admit I've been recording the video, so it has took probably 3 times longer than it would have done anyway. It's still a big process. You need to look at your time and basically say, have I got time to be doing all, hiding every set of polys and if the answer to that question is yes, you have got time, then that's brilliant. So we're just bombing along here, and you'll see it updating. So I'm not going to record me doing the whole model, if not I'll pause it. And then once you get round to the start, okay. Now the good thing to do is just change quite often, so just change the colour of it. We'll go for a bit of green this time. We'll pick a new just going to add a bit more in, and we're going to delve inside. Paint around all these. Actually, I'm not going to paint around them at all, because they might be coming out, if you remember. We might be adding them in dynamically within the game, so I'm going to leave that as clean as possible around them blocks for the time being. So like this, me going like this, it's going to paint on that strip as well, but like I say, we're not really worried. So all I'm doing is I'm just filling in extra grime, and you can see it coming in there. So every now and again, just make sure, because the painting within Modo is not so much on the PC, but especially on the Mac, it is still a bit susceptible to crashes. So every now and again, just come in here, right click, and just hit save, just to save that grime image. You don't want to be painting for an hour and then you can't save it and it's crashed, or it's. So here we go. So we're still coming along. So I think you get the gist of what I'm doing in this first stage. I'm just looking for any sort of crease where grime would get in, and I'm just, or anywhere where there'd be a bit of a abuse sort of to the wood. See, I'm not too worried about this piece tool. I'm just gonna around these blocks. I'm not looking what I'm doing. I'm just, you know, we're not splitting the atom here. It's just a quick get this process out of the way as quickly as possible. Then we can start adding finer details and stuff once we've got the grime out of the way. So now I'm going to just change the colour again. Bit of a brown. Let's pick another different one. Okay, so I'm going to continue this. I'm going to pause the video now and just continue adding some of this grime, and then when we come back I'll have the grime layer done and we can take it from there. So I'll see you in a minute.